Alright, so I've been getting a lot of questions about how to do pet skill farming and how you do your pet skills and whatnot, so that's what I'm going to be going over with today, I guess. So, pretty much, for the getting the right, like, skills that you want on your pet, um, and unlocking the slots, you're going to be paying attention to, this here acumen level. So every time you grant a skill to your pet, whether you confirm or deny it, you will get a point towards this. So for example, it's 1 out of 10 and he has no open slots. So I'll go ahead and deploy him and find a skill that I don't really care about in this case. Like, I'm not a huge PvP guy, so, open this. I'll grant him that. It's going to give me a random replacement skill. I'll hit cancel, but now he's got 2 out of 10, and once this finally reaches that 10 threshold, it'll go to 7, unlocking the last slot that he can have. It's so whenever you're trying to unlock new slots for your pet, so like he doesn't have any of the bottom 3, they typically start with 4 and some of them are open, like this, for instance. Then you would place the skills that you want, preferably at a lower level, in those things as like a placeholder. Because anytime that you go to make a higher level version of the skill, like say I want this melee damage up, well, because I have it in the pet already, all I gotta do is deploy him and find a higher level melee damage, or I guess we'll do something different. Range. Sure, range damage increase, because I have one of those. And I would grant it, and it's going to replace the range damage with the higher level version. See, penetration level 2. So I'm guaranteed to get what I'm after, and it'll be a higher level. So it makes it so you get exactly what you want on your pet. Now, if you have something, for instance, my little bird here has PvP damage reduction, and I don't want that. Well, the unfortunate thing is that it's random what you get to replace. So they got Iron Bone, not a huge fan of that. That's typically something I would save for the last slot, if they ever unlock that for us. And so you would just keep, preferably again using the level 1 pet skills to just keep rolling it. You'd keep granting the one that you want until it finally lets you replace it. So since he has open slots, any new skills that I give him are going to go into those open slots right away. And it's only once all those are filled that it'll start randomly rolling on any of them. So if I can get an example of that. Oof. Yeah, let's go with the bird. Screw it. Right? Yeah. So we don't want him, we want our companion. Disgusting! I did it again. Alright, so I pull out my little birdie here, and I like to do some generic stuff, like give him some armor pierce. Oh, okay, so that's even more interesting. This is something I didn't realize, just wasted that. Apparently I cannot grant him skills because this guy's in use. So what if I, now that I don't have a thing equipped, what if I grant him a skill? No mounts to use. Okay, so I guess the companion pets that you cannot grant skills to, so he's a bad example. Oh gosh, I can't even do summon. So let's try something different. None of those I really want to replace, so. Yeah. Alright, So I would give him 2 skills to fill up his slots. So we got range, we got the 2 things that I don't want. We'll give him some damage reduction. So now I want something that I actually want in one of these slots. So I would take the skill that I want, in this case melee damage, and I'd grant it. And so it just so happened to roll on the one I want. I got alert. I'm not a huge fan of alert. It's just flat stats for resilience. It is good, depending on what you're looking for, but that is not what I'm looking for my pets personally. So then I'd replace that, and now I'm going to try and get the cunning to get rid of, but it's random. So I got a crit here, I'll grant that. And see, now it's going to do slashing, so it's just going to be random replace every single time I try this, and I would just have to keep slamming the skill that I want, which is why that you would preferably want to do it with level 1 skills rather than higher level skills, because if you cancel it, I no longer have that crit. It's gone. I need multiple of them. So if you're sitting here wasting your high level skills trying to get a slot into the right slot, you're just going to be wasting them. So you don't really want to do that. Eventually I'll replace that. That's not something I'm going to worry about right now. And you just, again, you kind of build up your pets as you go, and you can eventually replace them. As far as pet skill farming goes, I'm not going to show you a location to get Fortifants, but I can show you what you do with it. My buddy just so happens to have a Devour setup for Fortifants, which is pretty convenient. And so you would just, in this case, lay down in this here chair and make sure that you have the pet that you want in use. You don't have to have them out, you just gotta have them in use, and then you'd Batch Devour. And wait, what level is he? 35, so you can actually handle a little bit more. So we'll do 3 at a time. Alright, so now he's up there, completely safe. These guys are all fighting, they're gonna shoot through, he's not gonna take any damage because of the setup. It's just designed around Fortifants. It doesn't work for every kind of pet, but it will work for a good amount. Pretty easy setup, and all you really are looking for is, in my opinion, something higher than 20 attack quality when you hatch them, because their stats are completely random when you hatch them. So if you get something with like 11 attack quality, you're probably better off releasing it, because this method requires them to at least have some kind of attack in order to be able to kill these things within the allotted time. So I like to go for 20 attack attribute at least, and then start, you feed them a purple pill that you would get from the EXP. So I've already bought them today, but these things, you'd feed them one of these Sky Charge pills because it gives 20,000 experience, and that should get them from like level 1 to like level 21 or 22, depending on if their fullness is done yet. And from there, they should be able to start killing Fortifants. So I do it in sets of 2 to begin with. So I would do 2 to get them to 31, I believe, and then another 2 after that Devour's finished, and that'll get them to 35, and then I do a set of 3, and that'll get them to 38, and then another set of 3, and that'll get them to 41. And once they're finally at 41, like say he just hit 38, then you can release them, and you'll get a level 3 pet skill book, which is pretty nice to have. And it makes it a lot faster for farming up these skills. Eventually you start fusing them together and you'll get the stuff you want, and you'll cap out at level 5 and you start getting some ridiculous bonuses at level 5. But it's a slow process. You work on it a bit every day. If you can find a Fortifant spot to gather them. You're not limited to just Fortifonts. I've heard of people doing this with Platizards, but this arena right here is designed with Fortifonts in mind. So Platizards would not work in this arena specifically. Just a heads up there if you decide to copy the design or whatever. But yeah, I just figured I'd give some advice. Hopefully this helps some people. Yeah, have a good one.